There we go. Well, you missed the opening act. I'm not Martha. Never could be. Beautiful Martha is not well, and she's taking care of herself and staying home. And I am Lilene Fifield, filling in for Martha, and your service leader for today. So welcome, everyone. If you hear of any of our congregants who have any worries, because we had some coronavirus that went around here, please know that the very day after, this place was entirely disinfected, all touching surfaces. So if you hear of someone who might have a concern, please let them know that we are up, alive, and well, and that everyone attending that event was vaccinated. So that is important for us to say. We had our own church members checking vaccinations. We also recorded absolutely every person's either phone number or email who came, who was not a church member, and within a very short period of time, with the help of Gemma and Dana, they were all reached also. So everyone was notified immediately when we heard that there had been a positive test. I say all that because we want you to know you're safe here. If you are new to us, do I see new faces? Well, if you are new or you bring someone new, know that, of course, you are always welcome here. After the services, we will talk about having a little tea and coffee, and we hope you'll stay and join with us. We're excited about the service today. We have with us Donna Smith. And I'm going to be telling you a lot more about our presenter, Donna, who serves our congregation in a number of ways. She does pastoral care, provides a weekly group on Zoom, and you will meet her shortly. However, a few other announcements. We do live stream all of our services. There are cameras rather high up. And we simply ask of the congregation that if you have reason during the service to move around, that you kind of use the side aisles. That way the cameras run down the center and your face won't appear. So we appreciate that. I think that those are, no, I do have two other announcements. We have J.C. Pratt here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about chalice lighters.
A, I'm dyslexic. B, handed a paper like this, I'm not going to be able to just scan it. I have to sit down with it. So I'm going to tell you. These are at the back table. I'll be back there. One of these, it's about chalice lighters. What's chalice lighters? It's when congregations of Unitarians, members of congregations, donate to chalice lighters. And they have tells you all about doing that, and it's like $20, $40, something like that. And it says here, how can my congregation benefit from this program? We received $15,000 from this program, and thus we're able to take our services online, out in the world. So we have already benefited because 30% of our congregation belongs to chalice lighters. So that's the goal. 30% of us contributing something separate from our money that we give here to make available to us extra money for, let's see, you have to even turn the thing over to get to the real point. Staff capital projects like possible new chairs downstairs with the new floor, or community outreach, which is our big time effort right now, is community outreach. and technology upgrades, which is continually adding cameras and whatever so that Jake can carry us out into the world more effectively and more efficiently. So that's what this paper is about, and this is the paper where you sign up. So don't get them confused, but I'll be back there. But that's what it's about, money given by us so that much more money is available to us.
She just asked me if that was right. Actually, yes, that was right. Chalice Lighters is a fund that's international, so youth from all over the world contribute to that fund, and that way, anytime a congregation is in need, there are calls that go out 2 or 3 times a year for grant proposals, and we submitted a couple, and those grant proposals were for 2 different things. One was for media update, and we are one of those congregations that during COVID we only missed 1 service the very first week. From that point on, we were putting together the technology and writing grants to get what we needed to continue. So we want to give back and able to assure that other congregations have access to those funds. $20, $40, $60 a year, and we've done it. So if you see one of these little buttons, that means we're a Chalice Lighter and you can come talk to us afterwards. Thank you. The other announcement is our board meeting, which we like to let you know about 2 weeks ahead of time. And it will be on Sunday the 16th, following the service downstairs. And congregants, of course, are welcome to attend if you would like to do so. Our congregation for many, many years has been a part of serving and supporting the Fish Food Pantry. And we do that each week by collecting donations of food or small cash amounts if you have it. And that money in turn is donated to help feed those in need. So your contributions would be welcome. And if I could get some assistance to pass the basket, that would be great. Thank you so much for your contributions. Know that they will be put to good use. We begin each service with the lighting of our chalice. And our chalice lighting opening words for today are: flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home. Those words were by Leslie Pohl Cosbaugh. I have some opening words now, given to us by Wayne Dyer. he says, what we think determines what happens to us. So if we want to change our lives, we need to stretch our minds. And Jake, our media person, we're so grateful for your service. Would you please rise as you are able and join us in hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me. Such a lovely, lovely song. Next part of our service is our opportunity to share with each other. We call it the Circle of Life, and it's an opportunity for you to share cares, concerns, or joys, either with the rest of us or silently if you choose, by coming up and lighting a candle, and I'll hand you a microphone. If you would like to share during this period, we just ask that you maybe form the line and come across the front here, and I'll have the candles and the microphone here. going to add one more thing to what just passed. My first church day, I cried all the way through the service very quietly. The song that was played was "This Little Light of Mine." And having never had a church, never felt I belonged, that little child in me that was wanting just heard exactly what she needed to hear. And for me, the song we just listened to holds another one of those very, very special places in my heart. So, thank you. It is at this time in our service when we collect our offering. We're supported by the generosity of all who join with us. The offering's considered a sacrament of the Free Church, and we ask that it be given now and in grateful appreciation for our shared hopes of our church and values. For the gifts that we have received, may we be truly grateful, and may we be committed to using these gifts to make a difference in the world and to expand our loving community. Right now we have an anthem entitled "My Life Flows On in an Endless Song." It's by the New York UU Virtual Choir. Please rise with me as you are able or not and enjoy the anthem.
No storm can shake my inmost heart, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? Surround me, roars, I know the truth in
Thank you for that. That was a surprise to me. Thank you for standing. I would not have asked you to stand had I had a preview of that wonderful experience. I'm very excited. One of these days, I'm going to get to go to a UU congregation that has a choir that size. Which, this is a little aside, and I guess I have the privilege to do so since I have the microphone. If any of you can sing, we have a fledgling choir that could use some new members. And when our choir director is back, our music director, he would love to see a few new faces so we could put that choir together. Thank you for the aside. Now, with great pleasure, I get to introduce to those of you who perhaps do not know her, Reverend Donna Smith. Donna Smith is a certified spiritual leader of the Unity Worldwide Ministries, specializing in pastoral care, and that is a part of her contribution to us. She retired from the Unity Church of Roseburg in 2013. She's also a Reiki 2 certified person and working on her Reiki Master certification. I've experienced that Reiki and she is really good. She earned a BA in finance at the University of Oregon, and she's a retired public accountant. Born in Miami, Oklahoma, and every once in a while you'll hear that, she has traveled extensively, but always returns home to Oregon. Being semi-retired, she continues to travel, to have fun, to serve humanity and the world as divinely guided. And for us today, we have the privilege of listening to her speak on delving deep into the workings of the mind. Donna?
That's okay. Thank you. Good morning. Can you hear me? I'm afraid to touch those things. It's really good to see you all this morning. A month is a long time. You know, I only come here once a month, and it's a long time. So I'm always just feel so good to see you, your smiling faces. Well, last month we talked about the power of knowing thyself. That in knowing thyself, you realize that you already have everything within you to make your life the way you would like it to be, whole and happy. Inside of you are the answers to all your questions. Your healing comes from inside of you. And when we get to know that part of us, our whole life changes. Because when we go within, we enter into our wisdom. Now, the seventh principle of the Unitarian Church is respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. The interdependent web speaks to the oneness of life. Life itself is consciousness. And we know this from all the teachings of our ancient and our current spiritual leaders. And now, so many are having near-death experiences and coming back and relating all of this information to us. And I'm sure that some of you know about those kind of things. In Unity, we call this oneness of life spirit. You can call it oneness, you can call it consciousness, or divine mind. Eckhart Tolle, I love the way he describes us. We're little bits or pieces of consciousness that just float in and out of physicality. And if you think about it, that's exactly what we do. Now, today I want to delve deeper into this mind. There's only one mind. I call it divine mind, so that's probably how I will be speaking with it today. But there's only one. And in this oneness of mind, divine mind, it is alive and teeming with creativity. And it is the source of all intelligence. Each one of us is a consciousness individuated in this one mind, or this oneness. Now, I think it's easier to understand if you think of it as each one of us as an expansion of the one mind into individuated parts. And each of those individuated parts, each one of us, has our own creative power. And this whole process is God expanding and expressing in order for God to know more of itself. I hope that makes sense. But if you can only imagine that you are part of this greatness and you have the same power to create. Now, I know that it seems that each of our minds function independently. Our individuated mind, though, is part of that one big divine mind. It's like, those nesting dolls. That's exactly how it is. However, each of us has unlimited capacity to create from our thoughts. That is how consciousness evolves and expands, is through the power that we have. There are 3 phases of mind. Now, the exploration of these 3 phases of mind is for the purpose of understanding the fullness of the one mind. There are no divisions, but it helps us to understand if we put these phases into some kind of explanation so that we can see how they interact in this oneness. And it also helps us to learn about how our habits are formed, why we think the way we do, and what is stored in what is part of our consciousness, the subconscious. Consciousness itself is everything. It is everything, and it includes what we are aware of and what we're not aware of. But it is everything, soul, spirit, body. That's consciousness. It is the totality of what we are. Now, in the evolution of consciousness, it seems to be through the individual, not the collective. In other words, the evolution of consciousness starts within each one of us. And then as we begin to increase our consciousness, it, I guess, expresses out into the collective consciousness. David Hawkins has done some amazing work with this, and we're going to visit that in a moment. But when our consciousness evolves, we realize, as Paul Hasselbeck says in Heart-Centered Metaphysics, and I quote, "The miracles are not the result of breaking spiritual laws and principles. Miracles are the result of the operation of unknown laws and principles. Higher levels of consciousness generate higher awareness of these unknown divine ideas, principles, and laws. Higher levels of consciousness can accomplish things on lower levels of consciousness that are described as miraculous. In my experience, the higher you raise your consciousness, all of these things that used to be miracles are not miracles anymore. They come to you as truth, what is real. Now, there are 3 phases of the mind: conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Conscious mind, as defined by unity, and again, of course, you can define it any way you want, but the phase of our mind from which we function rationally and are cognizant of our mental processes. It consists of our current awareness, of our thinking process, as well as our perceptions of the world around us. It consists solely of current perceptions, opinions, thoughts, beliefs, and ideas, and those all could be about the present, past, or future. Now, scientists say that our conscious mind is about 5% of our awareness. And it is from the conscious mind, and this is very important, but it is from the conscious mind that we choose to access the superconscious mind for direction and guidance. Subconscious mind, what is that? Well, Unity describes it as it stores memories, past thoughts and feelings. It stores whatever we are holding in mind at any given time without a choice-making process. It has no ability to discern the difference between truth with a capital T, truth with a lower t, and error. Scientists say that the subconscious mind can be as high as 95%. That doesn't leave much room for conscious or superconscious awareness, does it? What is interesting is that research has found that the subconscious mind records in pictures and images, not words. So what it does do, though, the subconscious mind, what it does do is take the initiative in influencing our conscious thoughts and actions. It drives our habits, and it directs all the subconscious activity of the body. All these past beliefs, thoughts, and feelings stored sometime in the past are present in every now moment. In other words, they influence and affect how we see things in the current moment. So we use these past beliefs to define what is happening now in front of us instead of looking at what is in front of us with an unbiased mind. What is really scary about all this is we don't know that that's happening. Have you ever said to yourself, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? And this is one I get all the time for me. What was I thinking? Have you ever said those things to yourself? I would be surprised if you haven't. But every time we use those words or we get into that area of confusion, more than likely it is the subconscious mind that is running whatever's happening in the present moment. Instead of responding to the present moment and its purity, what is right in front of you now in its purity without any other influences. That's a difficult thing to do, but it's a good thing to practice. So it's important that we bring these recorded past events to the present so that we can process them and release them. The idea being is to increase the percentage of your conscious mind greater than that 5% and decrease the percentage of the subconscious mind. Reduce it below that 95%. So this means that we make these decisions in the present moment and reduce the effects of those hidden past moments that are unknowingly influencing us. Now, also I want to just talk to you about subconscious impressions. You determine how you respond or react to life situations and conditions. Nobody can make those decisions for you. If you have repeated reactions and responses to specific conditions or situations, it is likely coming from your subconscious mind and from those past responses that you've had in this lifetime or even prior lifetimes, because these things follow through with us until they are resolved. Now, some of these may be desirable and maybe not, because there's some happiness in there too, not just sadness, because it records everything, and we've all had some wonderful, happy moments. Let's keep those. But there are a lot of sad things in there also. And these hidden things that we don't understand affect our current symptoms, even in our bodies. It affects our illnesses and everything, because thought is everything. Some of you knew my husband, Jerry, and one day we were cleaning out a storage unit, and on the bottom was this wooden box, and we'd taken everything off the top. We opened this box. There's this huge snake curled up in there. We didn't even know how it could possibly get in there. My husband, Macho Jerry, goes running out of the storage unit screaming. I mean screaming at the top of his lungs. Why would he do that? You know, his mother and he both had nothing in this lifetime that they would, that would have scared him about snakes, so it must have been from a prior lifetime. And so that was something that he brought forward. He also found a snake on top of a printer I had sitting in the garage to take and sell. The snake got away, thank goodness, but he beat my printer up to where I couldn't sell it with a shovel. He was so afraid of that little tiny snake. So these are the things that happen. They come forward from our subconscious. And those are the things that we need to look at and say, whoa, where did that come from? Now, how do we find out what is in there? Self-observance, okay? What are you doing, thinking, and saying? Watch your patterns, watch your speech. And, through discernment, you can uncover these beliefs and feelings that are controlling you in the present moment. Another thing I like to do when something like that's coming up, I just stop. Just stop for a moment and say, what is going on? Take a breath. And that is of great benefit because that turns off that automatic response. Now, whatever's coming up, do you want to keep it or do you want to let it go? Keep the happy ones, like I said, but the sad ones you might want to let go of. And this takes a lot of honesty and strength, doesn't it? because it may mean letting go of generational influences. And that means opening up to, is this my belief, or was this my mother's, or my father's, or the world's? And do I really believe that? And that's where the courage and the honesty comes in. Do I really believe that? And for so many, it's just easier to go with what's happening and what, is currently in belief, but that doesn't mean that it's life-enhancing. So, we need to kind of, I look at it as we still have wars, we still have hunger, in fact, lots more hunger. We still have all of these things, so whatever we're doing, it's not working. So it's time to make changes, and that really has to start within our subconscious. What is running our lives so that we can make those changes? Another way is to daily prayer or meditation, just silence, whatever you want to call it for you. That's just going within, however you want to do that. Ask for clarity and then listen. The divine beings are always here to help us. They want to help us. There are legions of light beings around us. But because of our free will, they cannot intervene unless we ask. I always ask. I ask for protection. I ask for clarity. I ask for wisdom and, ask for guidance in everything I do. And when you do that, they will give it to you like that. And it will become a part of your life that you begin to rely upon. So what you're really doing there is accessing your higher wisdom through these wonderful light beings who are one with us, because there's only oneness. Now, a thing that we do in Unity, which seems to be very powerful for a lot of people, I do it, is denials and affirmations. So once you are aware of a subconscious belief, you can deny that it has had any power over you, and then you can affirm a different belief, something that you consider will enhance your life and those of others. For example, I deny that the racist thoughts of my ancestors have any power over me, and I affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Does that sound familiar? I think it's our number one principle, isn't it? Now, some say this doesn't work. Well, here's some words of Dennis Waitley. If you believe you can, you probably can. If you believe you won't, you most assuredly won't. Belief is the ignition switch that gets you off the launching pad. Another one is forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself, someone else, situations. And when you use forgiveness, this erases a whole lot in your subconscious, because usually these are things that have just piled on top of each other, a lesson that's just been piling up. Both A Course in Miracles and The Way of Mastery say that forgiveness is the key, and yet it seems so hard for us to do, doesn't it? From A Course in Miracles, it reads, "Forgiveness is unknown in heaven, where the need for it would be inconceivable. However, in this world, forgiveness is a necessary correction for all the mistakes that we have made. Forgiveness is the means by which we will remember. Through forgiveness, the thinking of the world is reversed. The forgiven world becomes the gate of heaven, because by its mercy, we can at last forgive ourselves. Holding no one prisoner to guilt, we become free." There are lifetimes of experiences and thoughts stored in the subconscious mind. So it will take commitment, it will take some courage and honesty and patience, probably, to bring those things up. And my experience has been there are layers sometimes, but that's okay, just keep working on them. What is encouraging, though, is if you do bring something up and you let it go, you don't have to go back each incident. You know, if you are learning forgiveness and you finally get it and you do that forgiveness, you do not have to go back to each of those times you didn't forgive. So that's very encouraging. Now let's go to the superconscious mind. I'm going to define it as Unity defines it. It is also known as I am, the Christ mind, and is that phase of mind in which we realize the divine ideas of divine mind. The superconscious mind can inform both the conscious and the subconscious minds. So it is from our conscious minds, I think I said this before, that we access the superconscious, because in the subconscious, it's just a tape recording. So what happens is the error beliefs, thoughts, and feelings of both the conscious mind and the subconscious mind can be cleared and transformed through investing time in the superconscious mind. And how do we do that? You know, through prayer, through meditation, through just making that decision to go there. Any way that works for you. And when we do this, the superconscious mind will infuse these other aspects of mind with divine ideas. Divine ideas are those ideas that are life-enhancing. That's what I call them. They're life-enhancing. Those are the divine ideas that we have forgotten. So the spirit of wisdom is an aspect of the subconscious mind, and it remains, for the most part, a mystery. So I love that. But when you enter into the realms of the superconscious mind, you will know it, and you will have unforgettable experiences. I am sure that all of you have done that before. Those amazing experiences where it's kind of like the world is back here, and you're in this wonderful place. And so when you go there, that's when you access intelligence, wisdom, your guidance, your peace, and your wholeness. And that's when you go there, that will then manifest out into your body as health, peace, and all of those things that we all want so much. And this, this wonderful guidance can come through words or feelings or a knowing. One time I was racing down the freeway trying to get to work on time, and I was just about to come over this hill. Words came to me very clearly. This is a good day to get a ticket. I threw out my brakes, and sure enough, just as I came over that hill, there was a policeman. So listen to your guidance. It might save you some money. So I invite you to go often and ask the questions in your heart. Ask for that guidance. And then be silent and listen. Do you know that the words silent and listen have the same letters? Coincidence? I think not. So there is a transformation process that we go through, and these are the words of Charles Fillmore from A Keep a True Lent. He says, the superconscious mind lifts up or regenerates both the subconscious and the conscious, transforming them into the true image and likeness of God. The conscious mind must be faithful during this transformation. It must look ever to the superconscious for all direction and instruction. It can of itself do nothing with assurance because the spirit of wisdom rests in the superconscious. What that means is our conscious mind most likely is being affected by the world, and not our true intuition. So I talk a lot about raising our consciousness. And what I mean by this is we're all here in physical body by choice. We decided to come into physical form for the experiences that we could have and for lessons or things that we would like to learn. We chose to come here at this time to help in the raising of consciousness of humanity. However, upon entry, sometimes we forget our superconscious intention for coming in here, because the ways of the world are very alluring, and we can get caught up in it. But it is our choice. And we can always get back to knowing why we came here when we go within and listen to our higher self. So when we forget our spiritual identity, we tend to then rely on the ego. Now remember that the ego is the thought of separation from source. Well, we all know we cannot be separate from source, but our ego will make us think that, and the ego is fear. So if you are thinking that, you're living in fear and not your power. So, and we all, I'm sure, can understand that when we are living and acting and speaking from fear, we are caught in the lower levels of consciousness. Now, I studied the work of David Hawkins from his book, Power versus Force, and I think some of you are familiar with that book. Every word and sentence in that book was tested for truth using kinesiology. Now, in his book, he describes levels of consciousness beginning at 20 and going up to 1,000. It's logarithmic. So, for instance, 20 is shame. 1,000 is pure and effable consciousness. 200 is the scale for neutrality. Everything below that, shame, guilt, grief, fear, desire, anger, are not life-enhancing. Everything above that is what I call life-enhancing. So this includes a willingness, acceptance, reason, love, peace, and enlightenment. To put it into perspective, Jesus was 1,000, Buddha was 1,000. There are other spiritual leaders, some of them even walking on this planet right now, who are 1,000. And that is very important to us. In 1995, when he wrote this book, humanity as a whole had just peaked over 200 to 207. Now, I don't know what it is right now. I researched it, but I don't know that anybody has calculated that since David Hawkins has passed. But I'm envisioning that it has to be higher because there's so many more people on this planet who are choosing love over fear and are raising that consciousness level. Also, the divine beings have been given permission to come through the veil and help us because it is very important at this time for us to raise our consciousness. Even Mother Earth is raising her vibration. It was 7.8 hertz for many, many years. My latest research shows that it is now 20.3 hertz, and it is spiking into the 70s and 80s in response to some of our catastrophes and things. So Mother Earth is a living being who is helping us. So we're in the process from going from the third dimension into the fifth dimension, which is love. The fourth dimension is that process. So we're really in the fourth dimension right now because we are in that process, whether we know it or not. And what's happening is our DNA is even changing from carbon-based to crystalline-based. So from a heavy resonance to a lighter resonance. All of this is happening right now. And when you open up and start thinking about that, you start feeling those things and knowing that is true. So all of this relies on each and every one of us accessing our superconscious mind and allowing the superconscious mind to transform the conscious and the subconscious mind so that we can, each and every one of us, move into those higher consciousness levels, and then that's how we help the collective consciousness. Now, when he wrote this book, only 15% of the world's population was above the critical consciousness level of 200. 15%. However, the collective power of that 15% counterbalanced the negativity of the remaining 85% of the world's people. David Hawkins wrote, "Were it not for these counterbalances, mankind would self-destruct out of the sheer mass of its unopposed negativity. The difference in power between a loving thought and a fearful thought is so enormous as to be beyond the capacity of the human imagination to easily comprehend. We can see from this analysis above, however, that even a few loving thoughts during the course of a day more than counterbalance all of our negative thoughts." And scientists have said that over 70% of our daily thoughts are negative. I think it's time to maybe look at those thoughts and convert them, right? Because we don't want that. But every night when you go to bed, think some loving thoughts and it will just counterbalance all those negative ones. So that's why you hear me talk about raising our consciousness so much. It's a wonderful process when you start into it. It frees you from the negativity and the fears, and it brings you back into your wisdom. And that's what we need to help our world right now. But it has to start right here. It has to start within you. So I'd like to invite you now to join me in just a few moments of meditation. So if you'd like to get really comfortable in your seats, just let those shoulders drop and just relax. Just take a couple of cleansing breaths. And close your eyes. So bring your focus to your heart. Now think of someone or something that brings you genuine feelings of love and appreciation and gratitude. And just breathe that in as you enjoy the power of coherence and balance that you just entered into. And now in this place of balance and love, we're going to focus more deeply on the in-breath and the out-breath. On the in-breath, envision breath coming into your heart chakra, moving up into your throat chakra, into your third eye chakra, into your crown chakra. And see that breath go up and out through all dimensions of what I call the heart of God. And see yourself absorbing all of the perfection of oneness. And then on the out-breath, that perfection of oneness flows into your crown chakra, all the way down through to your heart chakra, and then out to the all that is, bringing that perfection out into all of creation. So let's go into the silence for a few moments as you do this. So as you slowly bring your awareness back into this room, I invite you to practice that often. I think it's a wonderful way to access your superconscious mind. So I thank you very much for being here this morning. I loved every moment. Yes, of course. Yes.
Welcome back. We have a little time now for sermon response. If you have a question, comment, something you would like to share with Donna, ask of, this would be... Hello. Can you turn this mic up a little bit? Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Donna.
Hi.
So, like, I get this, but I know my daughter needs this, but I don't know how to give it to her through words because she's so resistant. Would you say that just by me staying in this as much as I can, that would be, what would you say would be a best possible way to help someone who is so stuck in the lower now, but she has such a bright light and she can't see it?
Yes, and this can happen because of our oneness, your light, and your positive reinforcement you hold around her. You might not see it manifest in the physical, but what you're doing is you're talking to her soul from your soul. And you can make a point talking from your soul to her soul to help her in whatever way you can. It will eventually flow through, but who knows when that will be. But she will be affected positively by it. Any loving thought will affect it positively, however you want to give it to her. Yes, that's our power. That's how we can do that and help others, because they have free will. We can't make them do anything. Darn. Yes.
I knew there was a reason I needed to be 86 years old. Because,
86 years young.
yeah, I know now that those moments you spoke about, it's a flash in me. I'll be talking, and I know now to wait, stop. I need to let this flash come in, and I don't necessarily know what it means. But usually in the conversation, it makes me go somewhere else from where we were going. So I know that is a real thing. What you've taught me today has given me able to put certain labels on things that are happening in my mind and my body all the time. So I thank you for that. But these things do come amazingly. And I was watching something on television. There was a guy who was talking about some almost war sort of, or fighting sort of thing happening. I don't even remember it, but when I remember him clearly, and I see the picture still, he said, when you want to do something about it, you know this and this, but just don't hook on to that negative. And he just went with his hand. Just figure the positive and stay with that and see where it leads. And basically, here was a man saying, don't get hung up on whatever was just insulted or just whatever. But he did it with such a casual, don't even bother with it, just stick to the other.
Yes.
And so that's my newest thing off of television is, don't bother, just stick to the positive.
Yeah.
And that's not a new message,
And don't take anything.
but I have a picture.
Don't take anything personally, or whatever somebody's saying or doing in front of you has nothing to do with you. You know, but I would like to say, be very aware of these things that pop in. They are messages. That is part of your subconscious coming up. You want to look at it. You really do. I know it might be scary, but you want to look at it because it has to come up in order for you to look at it and heal it and get rid of it, I guess you might want to say, or I guess transform it into something positive is probably better words. Don't be afraid of it. Everything seems bigger than it really is. It's really not that big, and it's really going to make you feel better. So,
One more. Okay, Donna, thank you so
you.
very, very much. We have a hymn now, and it's just as long as I have breath. And please rise as you're able, and we can have that on the screen.
Here we go. Here we go.
Perfect song for ending all the things Donna had to share. Thank you. And thank you so much, Donna. We always appreciate your words. Our closing words for, I grew up here. Our closing words for today's service are by Darwin Kingsley. You have powers you've never dreamed of. You can do things you never thought you could do. There are no limitations in what you can do, except the limitations of your own mind. And with that, we extinguish the chalice. Please join us and go lift it up. Rise as you are able.
Go lifted up, bless your way.
Blessed be. Please join us if you have time for talk and coffee or tea. Thank you to our greeters, Al and Mary, and thank you, Jake, for the sound. And of course, Donna Smith, thank you, thank you, thank you.